I have a few questions of the panel. If I could start with you, Ismahan, please. You mentioned technologies, particularly genetic technologies, in which you're an expert. Which of these technologies can be applied now, and what are being developed that can be applied in the future? And I'm also thinking about the Biosaline Institute for plants which are growing in those areas which are not being used at present.
So I think for many years we have been talking about marker-assist selection. So how would you speed up the process of selection using genomics? But I think gene editing, it's quite different. Gene editing, it's once you know the gene, instead of trying to do, again, hundreds of crosses to insert the gene, is that you could know what's the switch off and on, and you could change the sequence to make the gene express what you want. So I think gene editing, it's ready right now. And it has actually, there are a few crops that have been already developed by gene editing. And there is a cow actually that was already altered by gene editing. So I think gene editing, it's really a game changer. So, and in that perspective, so gene discovery will take another leap. So if we talk about gene salinity, for example, and that's where I work, it's IFPRI International Center of Biosaline Agriculture. What we have been trying to do for the last 20 years, it's go back to the biodiversity and look for crops that could grow with saline water. And the idea behind it is that one of the biggest limitations of agriculture today, it's fresh water. So what if we could produce with seawater? And we have been focusing on a certain crops, and one of them is salicornia, that we can use literally seawater to grow it. So with the gene editing, and with the discovery now, with the whole genome sequencing, and as a matter of fact, we are doing right now the whole genome sequencing of salicornia. If we find the gene, we understand it, we can eventually find the same gene in other crop that has no salinity tolerant, but we can switch it, and then it became saline tolerant, and hence the limitation of fresh water became less of a limitation for food security and for food production.
Thank you very much for that. And I would like to add something, because the Biosaline Centre also has Disticlus, which is a useful pasture species that needs salt to grow, can be irrigated by seawater, as I understand it. You will know more than me. And this provides greater animal protein and micronutrients in areas that are highly saline, where marginalised people rely on livestock products.
Absolutely, Lindsay. As a matter of fact, most of the crop that we have been looking at are forages, because in the grand scheme of things, forages has more salinity tolerance than many other grains or vegetables, and hence this is very good addition. Dislictus is very interesting. It takes about 60 to 70% of salinity of the sea.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Professor Kay, could I ask you, in your capacity as an unpaid advisor to IFPRI, the enabling environment. What is the appropriate enabling environment for these technologies to be converted from innovations into action, into impact? What helps things be actually adopted?
Important thing is the public sector investment in human capital for both farmers and agro-processors. They need knowledge, and that is lacking. And also, the many agro-processing industries are clustered, located in the same areas. There are many companies producing the same thing in the small area. Each company waits for other companies to innovate. In the end, no company innovates. That is a situation which often observed in sub-Saharan Africa, and as far as I know, Pakistan. Thank you.
Good, thank you. And Dr. Menshan Chen, could I ask you a question, please? Which of the new food system technologies can contribute to accelerated progress for developing countries in general, from your experience in China?
我想在这里给大家介绍一个中国最近3年呢，我们启动了一个马铃薯只说产业化这么一个项目。应该是这个项目在贫困地区啊，这个解决机构解决我们的营养，开辟了一个新的路径，提供了很多模式和产品。我想请我的同事把这方面的工作介绍一下。我是这个项目的首席专家。
So in China's experience, I think it is a commercialization of potato products as staple food. Now I'm leading a program for this, leading this program, and this program is very efficiency in solving the hunger and malnutrition. And this program is started 3 years ago. In 2014, China launched this national key program to establish a technology system to support the commercialized production of potato as staple food. So far, more than 300 varieties of new potato products has been developed. The steamed bread and rice noodles, which are normally made with wheat flour or rice powder, now has got potato as an ingredient. Some local specialists, such as fermented rice cake, rice noodles, and green pancake, can also be made with potato. New food technologies for potato products have created new growth points for potato consumption and injected impetus for potato plantation and potato product commercialization. It is estimated that the plantation area for potato could be increased by 30% in the next 5 years. Potatoes as a nutritious crop caters well to the needs of consumption structure, upgrading in China, and the diversification of staple food. Potatoes are drought and cold tolerant and adaptable to poor conditions. It is an important crop to increase total food production and guarantee the food security of China. Potatoes also resources efficiency. Under equal conditions of water and fertilizer input, the protein output per unit area is twice of wheat, 1.3 times of rice, and 1.2 times of maize. Thus, it is a good choice for agriculture green development. Moreover, 70% of poverty-stricken areas in China are major potato production areas. So commercialization potatoes as a staple food bring about new opportunities for those areas to eradicate poverty.
主要就是昨天这个智利那个议员呢，他拿着那个烤的那个方便发食品呢，如果用中国的这个马铃薯准石化的这个做法，肯定是营养健康的。
So I would like to give additional comments that yesterday I've learned and heard from the senator of Chile that he hold a kind of he called junk food if it is made by Chinese potatoes that will be much more healthier.
所以你们下次到中国去，我给你们提供中国的马铃薯准石化，让大家品尝这健康的食品。
So next time, if you have the opportunity to visit China, I will provide you a kind of diversity of the food made by potato.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for the invitation. This means that you will have 500 people to feed.
No problem. No problem.
Okay. Just quickly, Ismahan, could I ask you for any further comments on this subject?
So I think really we are mostly talking here about diet and diversification of diet. So I think because the problem is really big, the solution, there's no one size fit all. So we will need to diversify the diet from plant, from animals, from biofortified crops, from fisheries. So it has to be diversified. And at the same time, we have also diversified the agriculture systems. So the monoculture, it's one model that we all adopted, and there is thousands of reasons why we adopted. But right now, I think the focus is on nutrition. To get to the nutrition, we have to have diversified agriculture systems, and we have to develop them, and it's a local and national program duty to do it. So there will be innovation that are done at the global level, but there should be a customization, and there should be a development at the local level to make sure that that's happened. And that's why I think the new innovation, be it controlled environment or be it gene editing, they are less costly than the technologies that came in the 80s or the 90s. So it's much more easier right now to adopt them, take advantage of them, and couple them with our indigenous knowledge, which is the biodiversity and the crop that we have left behind.
Thank you very much. Kai, one short comment before we close.
Probably, most likely, next year I'll become an advisor to the government of Pakistan about transformation of agriculture. I plan to apply what I told here to the development of agriculture in Pakistan for the coming several years. So please keep watching what's going to happen in Pakistan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The impact on the ground will be observed. Well, thank you to the whole panel. I think this has been an interesting way to round off the discussion about startups, business, government, policy, and how we interact with new technologies. We've covered neglected crops. We've covered marketing and the aspect of changing human behaviour in this, and talked about the nutrients more than the staple crops. We're already getting somewhere. This is innovation amongst the people that are engaged in food production and the continuous food production in the future. We're not talking about the same old things. We are innovating in our own minds about how we think about things. We have had two excellent keynote speakers. Thank you very much to Ren and Howdy. We have had two excellent panels. Please join me in thanking this panel and all of the participants.